Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? Where did that start for you? I think so. Well, let's back up a little bit because I think most people are going to be like, well, how the fuck do you become a heroin addict at 24? Like what was the causation? Like as someone who was a drug addict at 12 years old popping pills, let me first say that I get it. Like I was seeking anything to disappear. What led you down that path? How did you end up in that position?
Well, I mean the straight factual version is, in high school I started playing with drugs and alcohol like a lot of people did. Most people try it. I had a unusual reaction to it right from the beginning. I used in unusual ways. It didn't become a problem until I when I turned 18. And you know, when I turned 18, I was in a situation, and I'd actually been kind of straight edge for a couple years, and I started using again, and it was like I was off to the races. And so I started by, drinking and smoking pot, and then that just sort of escalated, and I was in the sort of rock and roll scene in Columbus, Ohio, and I went to band practice one day, or for a while, and I was like, what? How are these people more messed up than I am? Like, what is going on here? And they, turned out they were using heroin, and I tried it, and I loved it. And it, I don't know that it was that difficult or that different for me than drinking and smoking pot. It's just more physically addictive, and it's a whole lot more expensive, and it's harder to get. And so the consequences for me ratcheted up very, very quickly. And in some ways, I look at that as a fortunate thing, because I think I might have been able to keep drinking and smoking pot for many more years than I did. I sort of burnt my life to the ground pretty quickly, which, with the benefit of hindsight, I'm like, well, that's actually a pretty good thing.
What's funny is I have the same thought. I'm like, I'm really glad I destroyed my life when I was 25. That feels like the right time frame to have done it.
Yeah.
But I also realize, like, there's a lot of extenuating circumstances that leads a person down that path. And my own journey, just feeling like, dude, like growing up in the Midwest, living in Indiana, like struggling to survive, it was like, what do kids do? They drink and they get high and they have sex, and if you're me, you're still cars and you break into houses and you shoot guns at people like psycho. And you're like, that's the environment. So you're in this. And now, did you graduate high school?
I did. It was interesting though, because the first 2 years of high school did not go well. They went very poorly. And after my sophomore year, my guidance counselor said to me, "Look, we've got two options at this point. We've got this alternative program. It's a small school down the road. There's 150 kids, and they do school a little different down there. And I'm willing to send you down there and see what it's like, or I can expel you. But I am not doing another year of this. I mean, we were engaged in an epic game of cat and mouse, where I simply was determined to go to school as few days as possible. And so they sent me off to this alternative program, and at first I hated it. I don't think I would have, but then it just it became this incredible thing for me, and it got me through high school. I don't think I would have gotten through high school any other way without it. And so it turned out to be a really positive thing for me. But then after high school is when I started drinking again, and never went to college, just because my actions were, I was kind of a full-time alcoholic and drug addict. And like you, I mean, my childhood was, I was always in trouble. I mean, I think from the age of, like, 8, I was a kleptomaniac, and I was probably into vandalism before that. I mean, I just was kind of always in trouble, from a very early age.